Hey, it's Edna White. I am so glad you're with me today. Today has been one of those days already. It's like you wake up, you feel great about the day. You feel really, really great about the day, and then you think about what you have to do, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like uncertain. You know how those days are. We all have those days. Like, and I know I was feeling like this today, that when you don't know what to do, and finding clarity is uncertain. Like, you know, and you're standing at a crossroad. Like, I feel like this now. I'm standing at a crossroad, and I'm like, okay, step do I take next? Um, and I've done the assessments and what works and what doesn't work. And let's just say I'm talking about a project. And yet the path forward feels like it's unclear. Like I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm getting discouraged. So I almost have to like to talk to myself, no, you got this. This is just an area in your life that just happens. But here's the thing, being at this point isn't about failure, isn't about the day's gone and you don't know what to do and you're supposed to accomplish something. Often beat ourselves up. Negative self talk really is not good for us. It's not good for our mental health. And it's an invitation, to bring in, imposter syndrome, as it were, or, depression. So we want to keep the invitation open for the pause, for the recalibration, and to create something new. That's what I've learned in my career path, right? Because I'm setting myself up for retirement so that things work in the background. And when I say when they work in the background, I really do mean that, monetization happens in the background no matter what I'm doing. You know, um, I have created over the years almost 400 and something um, videos, and I want to say about 1,500 blogs, written blogs, 350 or more ebooks that I haven't even published yet. So right now, I am in the process of I have to put things together or implement ideas that create monetization in the background so I don't have to work any longer. Does that make sense? So I know some of us are probably there, trying to create something, trying to figure out where we are in those areas. And I think I've been talking about this. I'm talking about this for like a week now. So I'm going to talk about, finding that clarity when you have to recalibrate. I'm going to share 3 steps with you to help navigate these moments because I had to put this in action today. So I figured you might need this for yourself, okay? You might need to personally pivot your business, your ideas, a project, or even something personal in your life in order to get towards clarity. So, the first step is to pause and reset. And I'm going to tell you, this just happened to me just moments ago that I had to pause and reset. This just happened. So, when you don't know what to do, and the instinct is always to do something, anything, so that you feel like you're moving forward. But often the best thing you can do is pause. So I was standing in my room and I'm looking out the window. And of course, I'm meditating. What is my next step? Because I just felt like every situation or every project, no, every task, not project, every task I was doing was being blocked, right? So I had to stop. Stop, drop, and roll. No, I had to stop because I would start putting out fires in my emails, and you don't really have to answer your emails all the time. Those small things, do it another time. But when you're taking the crux of your day, to complete projects that are productive, you have to pick the ones that make you move forward. So, answering emails is the one that will help you move forward at all. So I had to say stop, and that was the best thing I could do is stop and pause. So I paused, took my deep breaths, you know, concentrated on the lake out the window with the ice on top of it. Mm. And I created that pause, and it came to me that I had to pause. So, why pause? Because my mind was cluttered, it was creating indecision for me. Because I have a personal thing that's coming up I need to handle. I have two personal things that I have to handle, and I'm a little anxious about them, right? And then I had to do these tasks, these projects to move forward. So all of this is on my mind, and it was unclear which direction I was going, and I was found myself floating off again to answer the emails. Yeah, that's my go-to, right? So I had to stop it. Taking time to reset gives you a space to see possibilities. And that's what it gave me. Sometimes they're not um, obvious. No, most of the time they're not obvious because of the chaos. So we have to pause. Now, how do we reset? I started to engage in activities that grounded me. And one thing that grounded me was reading. Started reading somebody else's book, of course, and then I grabbed my own. But somebody else's book, that grounds me. Well, prior to that, I told you I took the deep breaths in so I could get some oxygen into my brain, and then I did a meditation, right? And then I read a book. So you can meditate, you can go on a walk, you can journal, or talk to someone who can listen without judgment. This isn't about avoidance, it's about creating clarity. There's a difference between there's something you have to do and you have to do it. It's a difference. It's a difference because there's so many things you could do. And every time you do your projects or your tasks, there seems to be a block. That's when it's time to pause. So when I felt stuck in what I was doing, um, I I stopped trying to force solutions. So each task that I assigned myself came up with a block, and I was getting discouraged. So I wanted to find a solution, and I was trying to recreate the wheel. So like with my programs, I had a program last night that I ran last night on a workshop, and it came out beautifully. That I know that I could be working on to now convert that to an online course, right? But I'm not thinking like that because the tasks that I did assign myself today were not coming to fruition. So I was trying to find solutions for them. I was getting nowhere. Okay, I was getting nowhere. So instead, I paused and reflected on why I started this in the first place. And I started this just to be able, literally, number one, to make money. Number two, to share what I know with the world because the world does need what I know. So that break allowed me to reconnect with my purpose. Stop. This is my purpose. These tasks are probably not getting me nowhere because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I found out. Okay, step two, reframe the question, right? When clarity does not come, it might be because you're asking the wrong question. And you remember that movie, I think it was iRobot. Yeah, iRobot. And Will Smith is talking to the hologram of his long, standing mentor. And the hologram comes up and he's talking to him, but the hologram is only giving him information. And he says, ask the right question. And then he thinks about it, then he asks the question, and he says, that is the right question. And then he starts on this venture, right? Okay, instead of asking, what should I do next? Try reframing it. What do I want to feel? Focusing on the desired outcome. And then you can guide yourself toward the actions that align with that value. So, like I just told you, one of the things I could do is to be productive is create that, take that online course that I just did yesterday and create an online course available to everyone, or put it in a subscription base, whichever one I want to do, right? Reframe the question. The second question you could ask yourself instead of what should I do next is, what's one small thing I can try? So the one small thing I could try was, all I did was just, tweak this part of my program so that I have 2 hours with the client instead of four 4 hours that are really unproductive because I have to give them extra emails. So I formed a 2 hour. That's all I did. So thinking in smaller steps removes the pressure of having anything to figure out. So I reached a point in my business that I see how to move forward, um, but I don't see the big move. And I felt stuck, right? Instead, I reframed the question, what do I enjoy most about what I do? And that is different. It's a different question. What do I enjoy most about what I do? So it just came to me, instead of like freaking out, just keep, you love teaching. Teach some things today and be productive. Teach some things. Schedule some times to teach. You know, schedule some workshops so you can turn those into online products. That's all. Which that made sense. So around that clarity led me to focus on those things. It's transformative, right? Really, it really is. Third step, trust the pivot. If the pivot comes to you like it did to me, trust it. Once you've paused and reframed the question, it's time to trust the pivot. Just pivot. It can be scary because you have this outline already. I know I have an outline already, and I'm deviating from that, but I'm not really deviating. I'm pivoting. It's different. Deviating means don't even do anything that has to do with that. Pivoting means I'm not going to take that right, that do this particular thing, but similar. I'm going to do just. I'm going to be just as productive with this pivot, and it can be, uncomfortable and scary, but growth does require that. So start small. You don't need to overhaul your full task or your business in one day. Test a new idea or approach without fear of failure. It's all part of learning. That's what I'm going to do. Listen for the feedback. Pay attention to what resonates with others and what feels aligned with your purpose. Okay? So in my pivot, I tested new ideas like adding coaching elements, like that's coming up, our stay treat, and I see how it impacts the attendees or the conference speakers, and it confirms to me that I'm on the right track. Okay, so what do you need to do now? If you're at a crossroad and unsure of your next move, remember, pause, reframe, and trust the pivot. Clarity doesn't come all at once. It unfolds as you take steps forward. Are you ready to take those steps? I want you to be ready. If you are not ready and you need some little support around that, click the link in my bio. Um, Explore some of the resources that I do have. And then there's a lot of tools I can, if you click the bio, there's a lot of tools I have that can help you around clarity. Check out some of my videos. But if you really need one-to-one help, I'm here for you to support you. You can always reach out to me at www.ednawhite.com. I hope something I said today really, really helped you. See you next time.